Hello, my friends. It's Miss Heather. Today, I'm going to read you another story. The title of our book today is called Night Owl. We're going to keep talking about our story elements. So our 5 story elements are character, setting, plot, conflict, and resolution. For the Night Owl, today we're going to be talking about plot, which is what happens in the beginning, the middle, and the end. Alright, here we go. This is one of my favorites. I'm very excited to share it with you. Here's our cover. The title of the book is Night Owl. The author's name is Christopher Denise. This book also has something special on the cover. If you see that little silver circle, it's called a Caldecott Honor. And it means that this book received an award for being an excellent book. So when you see that silver medal on a book, it means it's probably a very good story. Here's our art at the beginning of the book. And it looks like some knights' helmets and some dragons. And maybe it's the colors that the knights wear. And that's why they chose the red and green and gold. Here's our title page. Oh, we see our little friend the owl. It looks like maybe it's his bedroom. And he's got knight figurines. And he's got all sorts of books and posters about being a knight. Since the day he hatched, Owl had one wish: to be a knight. Oh, look, tiny little owl. He's watching the knights ride by on their horses. Every morning before he drifted off to sleep, he imagined himself as a real knight. He would be brave, he would be clever, and he would have many friends. It was just a dream until one day, knights began disappearing from the castle. So Owl applied to night school. And to everyone's surprise, he was accepted. Now, one of the pictures has a poster. I'll read it for you. Knighthood in just 2 weeks. Apply today. Live a life of honor and adventure. That's what the poster says. It sounds like fun. Owl was an excellent student. He had a tough time with a sword, and even the smallest shield was a problem. And he had a habit of nodding off during the day. Night school was hard, but Owl worked and worked. He graduated with honor, as all knights do. What's different between him and the rest of the knights? Maybe their size. Is Owl a little bit smaller than the rest of the knights at night school? Owl was assigned to the night watch. He was very good at his job. The other knights usually fell asleep during the long night watch, but Owl didn't mind. All alone on the castle wall, he finally felt like a real knight. Until late one evening, it was very dark and very, very quiet when Owl heard a strange sound. Whoosh! It sounded like a huge bird flapping its wings. "Who?" Owl called. He heard the sound again. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. "Who? Who?" he called. Whoosh. Who? Owl called. "Who, me?" said a deep voice. "Who you?" asked Owl. "I am a hungry dragon," said the dragon. Owl was very afraid. But because he was now a real knight, and knights are brave, he puffed out his feathers and said, "I am Owl, and I am a knight of the Night Watch." "You don't look like a knight," said the dragon. "You look like a midnight snack." Owl's feathers trembled, but because he was a real knight, and knights are clever, he said, "You don't want me. I am too small. Hardly even a mouthful." "A mouthful is enough," snarled the dragon. "I'm all feathers and fluff," said Owl. "A great dragon like you needs something tastier and more filling. How about a pizza instead?" It turned out the dragon loved pizza. They talked about how each of them had hatched from eggs, how much they liked the night, and how flying was hard to explain to someone who had never done it before. They really had a lot in common. The following week, not a single night disappeared, or the week after that, and every night, Owl patrolled the walls. It was very dark and very, very quiet, but Owl didn't mind because he was brave, he was clever, and he had many friends. And here's our image from the back of the book. Now it looks a little bit different, doesn't it? The knight helmets have little owl eyes in them. And the dragon looks a little bit different too. It looks like maybe Owl drew it. Or it looks like Owl's dragon friend. So let's talk about our story elements. Talk about plot, which is what happens in the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. How does our story start out? What's the first thing that happens? We meet Owl, and he wants to be a knight. He loves knights. In the middle of the story, Owl signs up to be a knight, and he goes to knight school. And at the end of the story, he meets a dragon. And instead of fighting the dragon, he makes friends with the dragon. And that's what happens at the beginning, the middle, and the end of our story. I hope you enjoyed this story as much as I did, my friends, and I'll see you next time.